Hi, I'm Alan Ross, and we are at Distributech 2025. We've got interviews with thought leaders, and we'd love for you to see what we've done here. Hey, thanks for joining us. My next guest is Bob Very. We've done this before, but we did an audio version. Bob, Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Alan.
So we're here at Distributech 2025, or now D-Tech. I think they're trying to rebrand it.
Oh, okay.
Talk to me a little bit about how you got to where you are with Reinhausen Manufacturing US.
Okay. So it's a bit of a long journey to get there. So I've been in the industry for over 32 years. Started my career with ABV back in the early 90s. And worked in all different functions related to marketing and sales and ABB. I relocated, I think, 6 or 7 times.
Oh, wow.
With the company, including a stint in Zurich, and really grew a lot within the company. And then in 2019, I had an opportunity to leave the company. It was the right time and the right place to be able to do that. Stepped away from manufacturing and moved over to the utility side and joined Duke Energy down in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Really? Good company.
Yeah. So it's big and very well respected throughout the utility industry. One of the leaders, I would say, and one of the largest utilities in the country. And I was responsible there for large customer engagement. So both on the regulated side and the unregulated side.
Right.
So having sold to utilities for years, seeing utilities from the inside, of course, everything you think isn't exactly the same, which is interesting, right? You see a lot more positive dynamics and positive things to drive talent development, growth, manage your system in a better way. And so I thought that was really an interesting part about making that shift from a manufacturing side with a great product portfolio at ABB, moving into Duke Energy's. But then after a few years at Duke, it really was, again, the right time to move on to something else. So I had an opportunity to interview with Reinhausen to be responsible for their U.S. business. So Reinhausen in the U.S. is primarily made up of the Onload tap chamber business, which is the bolt-on design that you see all around the United States.
Best in the world.
It's the best in the world. But it also includes a fairly substantial service business, as well as a substation business. And then we've got components and other automation solutions that we sell to the marketplace. So it's really, we call it the power behind power, because it really is the things in transformers in other parts of the industry, but specifically transformers, that helps them operate in a better way, whether it be the best onload tap chamber there is in the world, or it's our ability to monitor both the tap chamber and the transformer to tell what that condition is and tell you what to do next to make sure that you can fix problems, or if you need to go out and do urgent maintenance, it tells you that too. It's the best components that you can buy for oil level or pressure or temperature, DGA on sensors and bushing monitoring and all these things. This has all come together in a portfolio that offers really one of the most complete solutions that our transformer OEMs and our end users can use in their operations.
I remember when you started the service business, and it was first of all serving Reinhausen load tap changers. And the next thing, it was servicing anybody's load tap change. And the next thing, it was servicing anything in the substation from anybody. And I thought that was a really wise way to go about doing that, right? And that's grown and still holding steady.
It is. So we, our Onload tap changer service business is really a stable foundation of our service, because we go out and we're able to service, because you take a step back, our service people are trained for over 3 years before they're certified to go out and work on these Onload tap chambers, whether they're in tank that's manufactured in Germany, or it's the bolt-on design that we manufacture in Humboldt. So they're truly the experts on going out and servicing the product. So customers trust us to go out and do the job right. And we do that every day. So that's been around forever. The extension to transformer services, because we've been around and been integrated into OEM's products and transformers for decades and decades, we know transformers as well as we know tap changers. So it was a natural extension of that business. So we set up that operation in the U.S. several years ago, invested in the highest quality oil rigs you could buy for oil processing, brought in really great talent, really great leadership, and we've been able to grow that business significantly from where it started from. And then we bought a company out of Mesa, Arizona several years ago that builds turnkey substations. And so the point of having that company do turnkey substations was, by buying it, it gave us the ability to then expand into not only just transformer services, but full substation services. So it was a nice complementary nature of that business that allowed us to go more from just building a substation and turning over the T to building a substation and being their long-term service partner. And then in the future, that'll turn into us being their equipment monitoring partner, starting at the transformers, at some point moving beyond that.
You know, one of the things that Rheinhausen MR has known for in Germany was quality. I mean, you knew if it was Rheinhausen, that was the best quality, their systems worked. You switched over, you got all this going on in the United States, different culture, different work culture, but you've maintained that quality in a service business, quality in the manufacturing business, now quality in the engineering service. I mean, you got a lot going on there.
Sure.
How do you maintain the quality with everything that you're doing? And you're growing rapidly. It's not like
are,
you're...
but
yeah.
quality's been embedded in the business since we started back in 1987 in the U.S. So that's when the Rheinhausen manufacturing business was formed. And so we've embedded from the beginning the focus of German quality in the U.S. Yeah. So all of our quality processes are driven by the same quality processes that we use in Germany so that we wouldn't miss a beat on everything that we build for our customers. We've tried to instill that same mantra with our service business. So, you know, we talked about the amount of training we have to go through for OLTC service with our product service business.
Yeah.
We're focusing on certifying our transformer service techs to be able to be out there and working on things only if they're certified to do it. So that's a part of the process that we're going through now, that not only do we want to be viewed as the best and highest quality transformer service provider, but we'll have the certifications behind it to say, this guy is working on this bushing because he's trained and certified to do so, or this guy's testing this transformer and doing all these different applications and testing because he's trained to do it. And so that's really how we're evolving our service business to continue to even provide better qualities. And then, you know, on the substation side, it was a very disciplined substation business with very strong processes. And they've continued to grow and develop those processes to provide even better product or solutions to the market than they did when they first started with us.
Must feel good. The industry's changing. And I think we saw it here. For me, it's been kind of an eye-opener because I've been around, talked to a lot of different people. And one of the things that's happening, it seems like utilities are no longer saying, here's what I want. How much are you going to charge me? And now they're going, we got a problem and I need this outcome. Can you tell me how you would solve that problem for me? Is that a much more collaborative environment? I've heard much more people willing to share their problems. Is that kind of what's happening in the industry now?
I would say so. And I think maybe a great example is one of the solutions that we're sharing here at Distributech or DTech. So we've got our Onload tap changer for distribution transformers that we have on display here.
Okay.
And so this was a product that was formed in collaboration with E.ON in Germany, where they were having a lot of issues when they were installing PV solar on their network, where they would have voltage fluctuations that would put them in a really bad situation. And so we're Onload tap changer company, right? So we knew how to do this on sub-transmission and transmission levels. Why not design a Onload tap changer for distribution transformers? So we set out on a project to come up with a solution that would allow them to regulate onload, not offload, but onload distribution transformers. And it allowed them then to regulate voltage. And when PV solar would cause voltage fluctuations, either when the sun was out or not out, then the tap changer would tap up or tap down and smooth out the voltage.
Yeah.
So now we're doing that same thing here in the US. So we're earlier in the phase here, but it's truly a collaboration with customers where we're going out and trying to understand what their problems are. Like, are you having problems with PV solar causing voltage fluctuations? Or do you have industrial customers where voltage drops are causing them to trip out some of their equipment, creating a dissatisfied customer? Are you having problems when people come in and plug in their EV? Is it causing voltage fluctuation issues on your distribution network? And when we find out what their problems are, say, okay, can we work with you on a solution that might help?
Right.
And so we've done a number of pilots all around the country with customers in order to provide our solutions here in the U.S. market, more really proof of concept for them.
Yeah.
But now we've got so many different applications that have addressed those specific issues with voltage on networks that we're starting to see this demand grow, and our end user customers, utility customers, are going to OEMs and saying, we're going to issue an RFI for this. We want you to respond. And so it's starting to build up just like it did in Germany, starting with E.ON.
Whereas the next problem that I think we're going to have is scaling, because demand is scaling. Yeah. How are we making? Because we've got new things. And what you just described is solving a problem that scaling is creating. You know, we did this and it created this problem. And that's where I think the utilities are much more open to say, hey, decision A is causing problem B. Right. Can you come and solve that? What does it look like for you think, for the industry as it scales to meet the 8% load growth, up to 10% load growth in some places for AIs? You know, we opened a nuclear reactor in Georgia and it's already sold out because of the North Atlanta AI data centers that they're putting in, which I'm glad, because my rates are not going to go through the roof. Theirs will.
That's good.
But yeah, it is. And you know, 20 years ago, it was like, what are you doing building another nuclear reactor? Now we're all happy about it. It's the ability to scale without building more. We need more generation. We need different transmission. We need different and newer distribution, because distribution is both power coming in, DC power coming in. And it's just like the whole thing is changing. And I think that's why grids, utility companies are saying, come and talk to us, because this is what we're experiencing, right? Because we're scaling. And how are you going to handle that?
Well, I think scaling has different aspects, right? It's technology scaling, and it's just being able to scale up your business to meet demand. Right. So I look at it from two different perspectives. So if I think about the demand side, you know, we need to continue to get input from multiple sources, whether it be IEA, whether it be from direct engagement with OEMs, whether direct engagement with end users, to understand how the volume in the business is going to grow, because we need to make sure that we keep our lead times to a point that we don't push them out, like we've seen in the transformer industry, as an example, out to 2, 3, 4 years. And so scaling on a volume perspective in the US has really caused it to become a much more, you know, it was global in the past, but it's super global now. So there's a lot of product coming in from overseas, power transformers from Korea, power transformers from China, distribution transformers from Korea, China. Of course, Mexico was always a supplier to the US, and Canada was a supplier to the US, but more coming from Germany, now Pakistan, India. All these different suppliers are sending product to the US. Turkey is a tremendously growing supplier of transformers to the US market. So as the US wrestles with the high demand, the increase in investment in CapEx to grow the amount of factories here is not able to keep up with the demand. So it's just a crazy amount of volume that's coming in. So scaling has been not only growing the suppliers in the US, it's been bringing in volume where they have they're not fully utilized in other countries to make a ship product to the US. We're keeping ahead of it, especially in the US. We've done an investment where we expanded our factory and finished that expansion in 2024. We're already looking at another expansion that we look to be starting shortly. So we're going to keep expanding as the market keeps growing. But it's interesting because the demand expectations of the US market, as far as number of products and projects, it continues to change every year. It always changes upward. Yeah. And it's really hard to keep up with, right? But that's one area of scaling. The other side, I would say, is just based on technology scaling, right? So I think about automation. I think about how we can actually leverage technology to help customers make better decisions. And so when I think about customers that have these really expensive assets like transformers in the field, they want to know what the condition is of that asset. They want to be able to make good decisions. So a lot of it's been through either more reactive gas and oil analysis, going out and doing inspections. But now you've got products like we have with ETOS, or our embedded transformer operating system, that allows us to bring data on the condition of the tap changer, data on the condition of the bushings, the temperature of the transformer, monitoring the cooling of a transformer, monitoring the DGA, and having that all come into a central system that can then provide not only information about the transformer, it can tell them when things are going wrong and when it might go bad, and then they can plan their maintenance so that they can take it out before it fails catastrophically in a different way. And so that willingness to now start to look more and more at using digital solutions to provide data and make smart decisions allows customers to better operate their system, and it allows them to reduce their O&M costs.
So is it safe to say that I was glad you talked about ETOS, because it's fascinating to me. It's almost as if you're white labeling that product to manufacturers and just open architecture, saying, look, we want this out there ever. Is that a fair statement to say?
I mean, we still want the Reinhausen brand on it, although sure, that's ideal, but we'll work with other suppliers on it. I mean, our utopia is that when we supply ETOS, it's with a Reinhausen DGA, or dissolved gas and analyzer and a dehydrating breather. And pressure relief device, all these different components that feed data into it, bushing monitoring. But we'll also, it's an open architecture that allows us to take information from other sources where a customer may have standardized on a GE Vernova solution or a Hitachi solution, and we can take that data into our solution as well. So we prefer it to be ours, but it doesn't have to be ours. So that's kind of how we designed it.
And as the transformer industry is scaling, you can piggyback on that. I want to go back lastly, because I think it's fascinating. The just growth solution that we're all on the same track is one thing, but the idea that there's a technology component to that, and how are you working on that? How are you looking that far ahead to say, hey, here's the technology we need to be working on? Do you have like mad scientists that hide in a room and you open the door and throw in a steak every now and then? How are you doing it?
A lot of the development is done in Germany. So we have a lot of engagement with customers, and really even the first products that we introduce are coming out of the German factory for the, not only the European market, but really for the globe. And then there it's obviously our product management folks are in touch with customers with monitoring technology evolution and seeing how things are evolving, especially as we look at monitoring technology and sensing. And so they're looking at what's that next thing that we can do that would be impactful for a customer to help simplify their operations and reduce their costs. And that's our goal at the end of the day, is how do we provide a high quality product that allows them to simplify their operations, reduce their costs. And then when we do that, they want to work with us and continue to work with us for the future. And then we adopt those technologies then for the U.S. market as well. And that's typically how we work in M&I housing.
Bob, thank you so much. It's been brilliant. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.